Alright guys, welcome back. It's been a while, or at least it felt like it's been a while. So let's get started. We're reaching a point in the game where I am looking for some very crucial components for making the shield. I went ahead and skipped past a few parts that took me way too long to find out because I already have the bombs in this stage, because you're told to create the bombs as they are the only ways to defeat the golems or to get the golemite. So right now I'm making sure I've covered all my areas, and it looks pretty silly how I'm just tapping away like a hammer. I noticed that with a hammer and with an axe, it's a lot of overhanded chops. It's like chop, 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 chop. And this is actually something that I went back to realizing that there was more in this area. Like, for instance, the ability to destroy certain blocks. And all of a sudden I find this dirt patch and I'm like, oh, okay. What if I can find more areas, perhaps the golem spawned here. And I found a fireplace and the boots. The boots that you'll see here allows to fall without taking any damage. Really cool. I like that they yet again reward your own exploration, at the same time gives you a very clear quest line to do at your own free will. Because as I'm telling you this, Gina has finally, after 2 weeks of this game coming out, I believe, to have she just died. To finally have reached the close to the end of the chapter for chapter 1. And I don't think I find it in this episode, but I'll let you know as soon as I see any indication that I was able to find it. So it's been roughly 2 weeks now since the game came out, and we're still playing this day to day. Gina in particular has taken a fond liking to a lot of what is in chapter 1. She saw what chapter 2 would be like, and she's not looking forward to that. Not because of the content, but because the town that you create in chapter 1 is not brought over to the next chapter. So every chapter you will have to create your own town to cater to what those people need. I can tell you right off the bat, the second town requires a sick house or some kind of a patient house to work on, and it's a lot of getting certain materials and remedies and but in this one, you're kind of taught the basics, so there's no real intense recipes that you get. So for base from the very beginning, you are stuck with a bed that is honestly just a straw mat on the floor. But in the second one, you actually have full-blown, like, legit beds. So I'm from that understanding, that means that certain chapters withhold certain recipes. So I'm left to believe that maybe at chapter 4 they will include a lot more recipes to use it with. So a lot to look forward to. Ah, there we go. We finally find it. That happened really quickly there, but what happened was I started hitting them, finding out that I did 0, and just as I remembered to put a bomb, the golem also hit the bomb while I was next to it and inadvertently killed me in the process. And it happened so fast that I actually ended up killing the big one, or one of the small ones, and it dropped the golemite. So here's another one. Smart of me, revisit the plan again. It's like understanding when the bomb will blow up. But that guy was just stuck there, so it was an easy cake for that. And I enjoyed killing them so much, I decided to do just a few more just for good measure. And it just goes straight to me trying to. Oh, I already made the shield in this one. Sorry, I had a lot of clips that were missing in this capture. But yes, created the actual shield itself, and I am ready for pretty much the boss fight here. But just wanted to make sure that everything was in place beforehand. Um, because I did get a sneak peek of the boss when I was looking for how, like, what drop golem like. That's how much that was a problem for me. Now I can tell you why that was a problem, because the golems weren't a natural spawn. They were a group spawn that required a bigger boss monster to walk around with two of the underlings following in suit, which is hard to really say that it's a easy drop. It's just said that it's in the Dardera desert, or I'm not even sure if I said that right. But I kept rereading the messages over and over again, and it did not really help at all. And so I looked up a video, and unfortunately the video did show a sneak peek of how to use this shield. So I saw that the boss fight will move the town into this special area to fight the boss, but even then it wasn't even that like helpful, because I built all my walls outside the safe area, so it was kind of pointless. So all this wall didn't mean anything. So, and LaRouche, to the last day, he's such a creep, but he turns around in the end. He is more concerned about, he's become hysterical over the idea of losing so many cities and friends he's had over the while, and now the boss fight is on in our hands, and he admits that he just cares about people in that sense, and he doesn't want them to suffer any more than they should. And here I learned that townsmen can't be hurt by uh, our own traps and firing utensils here. Oh, the boss, the big guy. When the big guy came in, I had to stop him, because he can again destroy. Right there, he destroyed one of my spikes, but no big deal. Oh, Rollo died in that one. Yeah, Rollo died in that one, and I was very curious as to whether or not he's permanently dead. No. So when your townsmen die, they just become unconscious. I don't know what happens if they aren't brought back into the safe zone, but I'm not gonna find out. And so we start off in the next. So near the end of chapter 1, they basically put you through 4 different options. So I actually started the fight over again because one of the boss monsters started destroying a lot of the ground, and in fact I used a bomb and it just took up so much of the and it didn't work out either in this one. It was just like a mess. It was just a mess here. I'm not sure if I even restarted it, but it was just chaotic over and over again. I think I ended up just fixing this one. Yeah, so goes to show that this game is it progresses very well. It teaches you how to do what must be done, but at the same time does not allow you to get too comfortable, because as each monster comes in, they will challenge you to some degree. They introduce materials that other monsters can't break, but not every monster would not be. In other words, this does not apply to every monster. Just as you felt safe in one scenario, you might not be safe in the next. It's not to say that there's always something to undermine your work. No, it just means you have to be on your toes regardless, which is a great design as a whole. So this makes me put extra fortification on these corners, just in case if the bosses are all about circumventing this area here. So that's good that this game encourages me to put some more thought in the design or defense, which is great. It really puts me on my toes, adds more value to the game. Also, found out very late that you can restore your health by sleeping. This is almost the end of chapter 1 too. And I think at this point I'm very close to the end of the boss. And again, I think here LaRouche is telling us about what to expect. Oh no, not even close to the boss yet. Yeah, the last one is really all about testing your defenses and your town, because you also need to, depending on how many rooms you make, right? So the coolest part is, depending on how you build the city, what you include in the city will affect what your townsmen can do. Although it does kind of walk you through by the hand of how to build certain rooms, you basically have free reign of what else to build. So every time you build a guest house or a house for that matter, it increases the resident HP. So in other words, if they fight, they wouldn't have as much HP if they didn't have their own room or an inn for that matter. But if you also didn't include an armory in your dressing room, they wouldn't be able to do as much damage or take as many hits. Oh, here we go. Big boss time. Very, very unnerving, because right then and there, it shows that only what's in the safe area gets teleported. And so basically, not all of my walls made it. I was very lucky to have that come in. So this part, I only knew that it needs a shield, but every other phase I was not ready for. So here was all genuine for the first time. And this golem just jumps everywhere. Not at all that. And oh, I'm pretty sure. Oh, you see all that? My inn and house got destroyed. It was not doing very well for me. And that's also misleading too. You don't know what space can be placed, even though you can clearly target his feet. So oftentimes you can't tell where to go. And I start the game over, and this is attempt number 2, because I lost so much already and I had to start from a previous save point. I only saved when the wall came in. So I hurriedly realized this at the last moment and attempt to rebuild what was done. So learning how to save was by far the most annoying feature about myself that I was too stubborn to realize the mistake of. So Gina is a lot more prompt. In fact, she sometimes remind me to save, only to realize that was actually very critical for me to have saved after the fact. So last boss, last attempt. I think at this point I was just making sure that everything was rebuilt and up to par. Not because I needed to, but because if you grow to have some responsibility to this town, you don't want to leave rooms unkept. Alright, final boss, last attempt. Much more prepared, but it was still really difficult even if you knew the phases of the boss. So very well done for creating this phase of a boss. So I'm really excited to see what the other areas bosses are like. So similarly, even though I did see it temporarily, there's no way I could have been prepared for this. There was so many different phases that I had to account for, especially just the spacing of everything. It was very, very difficult. So the spacing is an issue because he finds locations to do so, and it's very clutch to get that one position in your favor. But of course, I somehow managed to do it. In 3 hits, he was down and out for the count. And that basically ends chapter 3. A little bittersweet of a moment, but by far a very nice finish to that fact. I felt very proud, this game just does very well in encasing or embodying the message of feeling loyal to the town that you've created, feeling the idea that this is your place, this is your town. You created this from the ground up and you've gone a far way. Like, if you think back from how the town originally started, it's nothing compared to what you've created it to now. And not only have you created it, you've brought everyone together and you defeat this boss. It's just so accomplishing to that fact, and it's very rare to have a game be able to do that so well, in the sense of incorporating again RPG with giving so much freedom to the user. I've never seen it done in this fashion. So Dragon Quest Builders Chapter 1, it's finally come to an end. It was a very bittersweet moment to have left them, but I probably won't do anything else with this city. I've pretty much done the most that I can. There's nothing else I want to change for that matter, so I'll leave it as is for the memory. But at this point, I also discover a lot of things that I missed, especially when you start to grade it. Just to confirm, at the end of this, it will show that there were certain challenges that were met. I think the only challenges I were able to complete was the killing one of the dragons, maxing the town level to 5, and more importantly, having had complete the game in discovering over 150 items too. So that's chapter 1. I will be covering the rest of the chapters that are to come. All the while, Gina will be finally closer and closer to chapter 2. I hope for her to experience this as well. Thank you guys for watching, and there will be more to come.